Hello, bachcho. Welcome back. Your exams are just around the corner. I know, lots of pressure. But don't you worry, we're going to revise this chapter so well you'll remember everything. Today, we're tackling a super interesting topic microbes in human welfare. And I can almost hear you thinking, Sir, microbes, you mean germs, right? The things that make us fall sick? Well, what if I told you that's only half the picture? Get ready because we're about to meet some secret superheroes, tiny little helpers that do amazing things for us. Let's get started.
Yep. For most of us, the word microbe immediately brings up images of diseases, germs, and feeling unwell. And look, you're not wrong. We've all read about those harmful microbes. But that is literally just one side of the coin. There's a whole other world we're about to uncover.
So, I want you to completely flip that thought. Think again, because this chapter is all about the good guys. We're talking about a massive, invisible army of microbes that are on our side. They're working for us, in our homes, in huge factories, even cleaning up the planet.
So where do we start our journey to find these superheroes? Well, it's a place you know very, very well. Our own kitchen. You are going to be so surprised when you find out how many of your favorite foods exist only because of these little guys. Okay, let's talk about something we all love, dahi, or curd. Have you ever wondered how simple milk turns into thick, tasty dahi overnight? It's not magic, it's microbes. Specifically, these tiny little chefs called lactic acid bacteria, or LAB. When your mom adds that small spoon of starter curd, the jamun, into warm milk, she's actually introducing millions of these bacteria. They immediately start working, eating up the milk proteins, and boom, you get dahi. And get this, they even add a bonus nutrient for us, vitamin B12. How cool is that? And what about those fluffy idlis or that soft bread for your sandwich? Ever notice how the batter or the dough rises and gets all puffy? Well, you guessed it. That's our microbial friends again. For idli and dosa, it's bacteria doing the job. For bread, it's a fungus called baker's yeast. But you know what? They both use the same secret trick, fermentation. During this process, they release a gas, carbon dioxide. All those tiny gas bubbles get trapped, making everything light, airy, and super fluffy. Now, for all my cheese lovers out there, microbes are like the master artists of the cheese world. You know the Swiss cheese with the big holes, like in Tom and Jerry cartoons? Well, those holes are made by a bacterium with a very long name, Propionibacterium charmanii. It produces a lot of CO2 gas, which makes those big holes. And what about Roquefort cheese with its distinct flavor? That's because of a specific fungus grown on it. The main point to remember is this. A different microbe gives you a completely different kind of cheese. All right, let's move out of the kitchen now and think bigger. Much, much bigger. Because microbes aren't just helping us make food. They are absolute industrial powerhouses. We're talking about growing them on a massive scale in giant factories to make things we use every single day. Take a look at this. I know. It looks like something from a science fiction movie, right? But these huge steel tanks are real. They're called fermenters. Just think of them as giant kitchens. Inside, we create the perfect conditions to grow trillions of microbes, all working to produce things like antibiotics, beverages, and so many other chemicals on an industrial level. And this leads us to one of the greatest stories in medical history. It's the story of penicillin, the first antibiotic. And you know what? It was discovered completely by accident. A scientist named Alexander Fleming was working with bacteria. He left a culture plate unwashed, and when he came back, he saw a mold growing on it. But here's the crazy part. All around that mold, the bacteria were dead. He figured out that the mold, Penicillin metatum, was releasing some chemical that was killing the bacteria. He named it penicillin. It was later that two other scientists, Chain and Florey, showed its true potential as a wonder drug, and all three of them, rightfully, won the Nobel Prize for it. You really can't overstate how huge this discovery was. It changed everything. Before penicillin, diseases we've heard of like plague, whooping cough, kalikasi, or even leprosy, kushtrog, they were often a death sentence. But now, thanks to these amazing medicines made by our microbe friends, we have the power to fight these deadly infections. Our world would be a very different place without antibiotics. And it doesn't stop there. Microbes are like little chemical factories. For example, a fungus called Aspergillus niger helps make citric acid. A bacterium, Acetobacter aceti, gives us acetic acid, which is basically the main component of the vinegar in your kitchen. They even produce enzymes, like lipases, which are the secret ingredient in your laundry detergent that helps get rid of those tough oil stains on your clothes. Isn't that just incredible? Okay, so we've seen them in our food, we've seen them in our medicines, but their superhero work isn't done yet. Now we're going to look at what might just be their most important job of all, acting as nature's official cleanup crew. Think about it. Every single day, our cities and towns produce tons and tons of dirty wastewater, which we call sewage. We can't just dump this into our rivers. That would be a disaster. It's full of all sorts of nasty stuff. So what do? We call in our microbial cleanup crew. In sewage treatment plants, first we do a primary treatment, where we just physically remove the big floating and settling solids. But the real magic happens in the secondary treatment. We take the water to huge tanks and pump lots of air into them. This is like a party for aerobic microbes. They grow super fast. And what do? They literally eat up all the organic waste in the water. They clean it for us. And then the leftover sludge is digested by anaerobic bacteria, which even produces useful biogas. And this is what it actually looks like. This big tank is an aeration tank, and it's the main stage for our heroes. See all that bubbling and churning? That's the air being pumped in. It's creating the perfect 5-star hotel for these microbes to grow and have a feast of all the pollution in the water. They are literally our planet's little janitors. Okay, bachcho, pens down for a second. Listen carefully. This is a very, very important term for your exams, BOD. It stands for Biochemical Oxygen Demand. Now that sounds complicated, right? So let's make it simple. Just think of BOD as a pollution score. That's it. If water has a high BOD, it means it has a high pollution score, it's very dirty. If it has a low BOD, it's clean. So what's the whole point of sewage treatment? It's simple. To get those microbes to bring the BOD, the pollution score, way, way down. And these microbes can even turn waste into wealth. A perfect example of this in rural India is the Gobar gas plant. There are special bacteria called methanogens, and they live in cattle dung, or Gobar. When they digest this Gobar without oxygen, they produce something called biogas, which is mostly methane gas. This biogas is a fantastic, clean fuel that can be used for cooking and lighting in villages. And the best part? The leftover slurry is an excellent fertilizer for crops. It's a win-win situation. Nothing goes to waste. Phew! Okay, that was a lot of superhero action, wasn't it? Now let's see what you remember. It's time for a super quick exam revision round. Ready? Let's do this. Question number 1. This one pops up in exams all the time, so pay attention. Which microbe is responsible for making the large holes in Swiss cheese? Come on, you know this. Think back to the cheese master artists.
And the answer is Propaniobacterium shermanii. Remember the name. It's the one that produces tons of CO2 gas, and that gas creates the big holes. Simple.
Okay, next question. This one is from the environmental section. What is the full form of BOD, and what does a high BOD mean? Got it? The answer is biochemical oxygen demand. And a high BOD simply means a high pollution score. The water is very, very polluted. Easy peasy.
So there you have it, a quick summary of our microbe superpowers. In the kitchen, they make our dahi, idli, and cheese. In industry, they give us life-saving antibiotics and important chemicals. And in nature, they clean our water and give us clean fuel. So the next time you hear the word microbe, I hope you won't just think about germs. I hope you'll remember these incredible, invisible superheroes who are working for us all the time. Okay, bachcho, that's it for today. All the very best for your exams. Study hard, and I'll see you in the next video.